Hot 6 at one point in time kind of pulled the game back into even territory, but the last few minutes have been all about Virtus Pro and their positioning.
Yeah, lucky for MVP, this score, it's only a difference of 2,000 net worth, so as long as they don't tilt or anything like that, they should be okay. But they can't just keep giving up their Pugna, they can't just keep giving up their Lion, because yeah, it's a support, but the way that you should really think about it is a support's going to have much less time to catch up into the game. Like, a carry or a mid will always have the jungle to fall back on, or you'll dedicate a lane to their farm. But when it comes to a support, it's so difficult to just guarantee that level of farm. And this top tower, you notice how low it is? They decide to go for the smoke here. If they can catch somebody, great. If they can't, they're going to go for the tower push before they can respond. And MVP is doing the same thing at bottom right now because they anticipate somebody going down there to defend that huge creep wave. So this should be a trade where VP get the top tower, but if G's not careful, this could just mean a death for him.
MVP Hot 6. I almost thought they were going to go for the Tier 2 at bottom lane just to make the trade-off. Tier 2 for Tier 1. I think that's the point you were originally making.
Yes.
And, okay, they're going to go for it now. I guess it's just a little bit too tempting to see, like, a juicy mid-hero, especially a core there, and not consider at least going for him.
No. You got to ignore that and just say, that's a DK Phobos Tusk who's already behind. It's not going to give you the best net worth advantage. Yeah. Going for this tower, which is kind of low, is probably the better play. Because that's the thing, is that when you go for a smoke like that, it's not intended to get a kill. You're intended to get an objective here. Like, if you notice at top, they're probably not even going to get that because they just rotate mid for it.
Yeah. Tier 1, oh, nice deny from Jerix. Now rotations to make sure Jerix will not be punished for that. And they did get the Tier 2 at the same time, and as you said, that top lane tower is still up. But Virtus Pro are going to be quick to go over there. I mean, they know most of the heroes teleported into the Tier 2 tower. That means MVP Hot 6 don't have a real direct route to get to that Tier 1 in time. They can't TP.
Sunny knows they're coming. He should be getting out of here. The Ward Vision did spot them. They didn't smoke for this, and so this is just going to be a straight-up trade for Roshan.
Yeah, God's got the trap already laid out behind the tower. Sunby, he does not have a TP out. The only play he really has is some sort of crazy hook shot.
Oh, they know he's there too.
Yep, the Sigil spies him out now. There goes the trap, and Sunby, well, he throws out the hook shot at the end, but he knows it's not going to do anything. He bought a lot of time, though. MVP Hot 6 will be able to take Roshan for themselves. Let's see whether or not Virtus Pro are actually able to defend in time. A lot of MVP Hot 6 are quite low, and there was mass TPs into the Tier 2 tower. And God, well, he's actually got a haste rune, so this could be really big. FNG is going to be the first ones there. Now the hook shot. Oh, God, this is going to be terrible. Fisher already bringing 2 low. G coming in, able to finish off 1, 2, and Echo Slam gets laid out, and 3 end up falling around that Roshan pit, with Roshan only sitting at 1,500 HP. It doesn't get better than that for VP.
G just kind of walks in and says, hey, free Aegis.
Free Aegis, free kills. That was nasty.
The problem with MVP Hot 6's lineup right there is that you don't have a medallion, you don't have any way to cut through the armor of Roshan, so it just took them so long. They don't even have that many physical damage dealers because MP's decided to go for no treads, nothing of that nature, so he doesn't have any plus damage. You've got a Bloodseeker that is pretty much defensive in his build, and you've got 2 supports that don't add anything and that can't buy medallion, so that's such a risky maneuver for them.
VP centering up for that bottom Tier 1 tower. It looks like our Lion really wanted to get a pick off on one of the supports, like easy kill on the Rubik maybe solo. Oh, no, not even the Rubik. Rubik's got a Bracer and an Earnest Shadow, so he's sitting at 1k HP. So Lion couldn't even necessarily solo him. So our Lion's just going to be hanging out there for a while, eventually TPing in, but I'm just not sure. MVP Hot 6, they're not in a really good position to be able to defend. It feels like they're just going to constantly lose teamfight after teamfight, but as you said earlier on, they did build a lineup that was meant to be the aggressors. In this case, you build an aggressive lineup, but you somehow drop the ball in the first 15 minutes, and the enemy team has an advantage. What's the better play here? Do you just go ahead and give up a lot of your map control and wait out your opportunity, or do you try and force the fights anyway?
I think she's going to go on Jerix right now, who has a TP, but he doesn't have enough mana to use this, and he was trying to drag the creeps over, but FNG going to get another solo kill as he's on a Mega Spree, but I think what you do if you're MVP Hot 6 is wait out the items that you absolutely need to fight. Like, if Hot 6 can grab a few items on their cores, like if Forev gets a BKB for the next fight, and if you get a Bloodstone on the Lina, then maybe you can get into an engagement. Like, those are probably the items that you wait for.
Oh, MP. Telekinesis up and taken out. I'm not sure what his plan there, if he was just hoping to be able to push out the wave real quick, but this build is also perhaps a bit questionable for the Lina as well. Going for the Soul Booster, Bloodstone, rather than the Yule Scepter, which would have given him maybe a lot more solo killing power.
Yeah, but I don't think he wanted to play the solo killing style. I think they were trying to get into team fights early, but especially when that mid-fight collapsed where they lost so many heroes, and then especially with that Roshan, things kind of just went the other way, and MVP Hot 6, they don't really have the best lineup at coming back into this game because their comeback mechanic doesn't really exist. You've got a Midas on Forev, but the rest of their heroes aren't designed to be behind. Like, Lion is a pretty greedy support. Pugna is definitely a greedy support. Like, you need that hero to have some measure of items to be able to do anything because, as we saw, when he walks forward to Nether Blast, he gets fissured once and then dies.
Yeah, especially when they try and do the Blood Rage Pugna.
Yeah,
we saw that a couple of times where they wanted to get
down.
the extra damage for Nether Blast on towers. That's just so risky, as Virtus Pro have more than enough initiation and long-range nukes to be able to bring down that Pugna if necessary. BKB is coming up soon for our Templar Assassin. It's got the Desolator, Blink Dagger, and of course that Aegis of Mortal that we saw earlier. Hasn't died a single time yet.
I think what you're waiting right now for is MP to finish that Bloodstone, and you've got one smoke if you're MVP, and that's pretty much your one real way back into the game. So you might see them just get the Bloodstone and then decide to go for some sort of counterplay, because you can't just let VP take complete map control at this point. Like, once you get those items on MVP Hot 6, what are you really waiting for? Like, it's going to take you way too long to get an Aghanim Scepter on Lina. Like,
right.
The game probably ends before that if you let it progress at this rate. So you have to choose at some point to get aggressive on the map.
Oh, Forev. Echo slammed immediately. They're willing to pop that ultimate just to finish off the Bloodseeker, especially when they're already pushing in both top and middle lane. Now, the Earthshaker's going to go back to defend. He already used his Echo Slam anyway, so he'll try and stop the TP back of Lina, or at least protect that Tier 3 tower. Meanwhile, his allies putting pressure on the Tier 3 at top lane. Sunby already jumping onto Illidan, who pops his BKB, and now turns and fights Sunby. Sunby will go down quite easily. Jarek's already slowed down. Snowball will pull the Gyrocopter forward in order to get that kill. He trying to heal up his allies and kill the enemy with a single target focus, just not going to be good enough. Bloodseekers comes back, and looks like they'll be able to take out the Templar Assassin's Aegis, but that seems to be about it. Forev can't even force this fight anymore. A 10-second BKB just did nothing for them. And Virtus Pro will back up. Pretty happy with that fight.
Yeah, they're going to be incredibly satisfied with how that went, because they were able to just dive. There was no repercussions. You even forced I think that was a buyback on the Lion and the Bloodseeker, and he uses 10-second BKB. Like, of all the things that could have gone wrong there, they went wrong there. Because that's what your comeback mechanic is. That 10-second BKB, getting the Bloodstone on MP, that's your best shot. So I think MVP, honestly, you just get the Bloodstone on Lina and go. Like, wait for the BKB to refresh back up on MP. Because if you just sit back and passively wait for the game to end, you're going to give up the Roshan onto VP, and there's not a lot of locations that you want to get into a fight with. You better just go for pickoffs. I think it's the best possible option, but even then they don't have the best way to open up because they don't have a Blink Dagger on their Lion.
Yeah. They're pretty much completely reliant on the clockwork to be able to set up those single target picks.
This is a YOLO smoke, if I've ever seen one. The complexity wraparound. The old Cole TI2, remember that? If you're behind, just go for the wraparound.
Mm-hmm. Jarex is desperately trying to push out that bottom lane in order to get that Blink Dagger that we previously mentioned. Virtus Pro just not quite feeling comfortable enough to go for a push. And why should they? I mean, they've got this game pretty much in the bag. They just have to play patiently and maybe wait out the next Roshan and then go uphill with the next Aegis.
Yeah, I think that's actually what MVP are waiting for. The next Roshan to respawn and then hopefully catch them into that angle.
Right.
Because I guess there's no better objective to go for. Like, you're not going to smoke gank and get a tier 2 out of anything. The mid tower is way too healthy. Same thing with the top tower. And getting kills right now isn't enough. So you probably wait for that. I still think they maybe should just smoke right now and try to go for something before the Roche fight. Because I feel like the Roche fight is just way too obvious.
Lil almost found a pick off on that Lion at bottom lane, but a Hex TP out does get him away. Heen. Then G is going to commit the Echo Slam. He immediately gets ruptured and force snaps himself away. TP's out. He's good. The call down also zoning away a lot of MVP Hot 6. In fact, it's going to get a kill on Sunby. Now they're going to pursue for more. Illidan is trying to just right-click these heroes down, and with the trap, he will be able to catch up to NP. Gets that kill. And Jarex, well healed up by the Bloodstone, will start backing himself up. Turns to go for God, hexing him away. But now there goes the Ice Shards to try and block him back to his retreat to the Fountain. God moves forward right in front of the Fountain. Gets the kill. Lion was running up those fatal steps, but it wasn't good enough, and sure enough, MVP Hot 6 call it. GG, 24 minutes, 26-5, Virtus Pro, a very dominant victory by them.
They just completely outplayed them from start to finish. MVP Hot Six's lineup, when you originally look at it, that's so unforgiving. You can't mess up. With supports like Lion and Pugna both, those are heroes that are going to naturally just have cap out at around 800 HP. Even if you decide to do the Sing Sing Vibe Bracer kind of thing, and Lil sells everything and he buys 5-6 mangoes, but the thing is, he decided to build incredibly defensive while FNG was allowed to go for the Blink Dagger, and it just made such a big difference. As you mess up 1 or 2 fights with MVP's lineup, you just lose the game.
So VP taking game number 1, sitting themselves in an even better position for the standings. Of course, we're going to take a break, as the analysts, I'm sure, have a lot to talk about this 24-minute match.
All right, G giving a nice little wave to the camera, feeling good after that win. A fairly quick one, of course, and fairly single-handedly defeating MVP Hot 6. What do you have to say about that, Synderen?
I hope you guys
Well, we can say something about Rubik's skill build, because I think the statsmans are going to be very happy with him, gathering all the stats of what people play on their heroes, and then Lil has this thing at the end of the game. This time it was all mangoes.
He had 6 mangoes.
6 mangoes.
But the Lina on the opposing team had 5 mangoes and a bottle.
Oh,
That's true.
There were so many. He actually balanced it out, so the win rate of mango didn't really increase.
This is true.
It's kind of useless.
This is actually very considerate.
Well, I don't know. For me, a pretty one-dimensional game. We said it in the draft. They have to play super well early. Their lineup falls off very quickly if they don't start winning fights and taking towers in the first 15 minutes. It's going to be very, very difficult. VP won the early game. VP won the game.
That is
it's really one of those games, in my opinion.
That is basically all that happened. We talked about this at the start of the game. If Hot 6 was going to win, then they're going to do it at the start of the game. And they didn't. And they actually got rolled over pretty hard at that point.